Hello. Okay, so I'm reforming a lot of these because they deleted an hour before the deadline for the websites. So I'm sorry if they seem rushed, but what are you gonna do? It's that or no work. So, week 4, we completely finished the vocals for our singing. I think I said we did that last week, but they were all like polished. We worked from the feedback last week, which was to work on diction and volume, I think. So did some things with that. We also made sure we've got like a nice crescendo for the end of Let There Be, so it's got a nice clean finish. We fed back to the class and performed it back, and we obviously got to add movements, which is something we worked on later that week. And then also make sure we're storytelling and things like that. So we added movements of really influenced by Greek chorus and Greek culture, especially from Hercules, the Muses. I think they were really good muses for Greek chorus because they're a really exaggerated example of it, and it's like they're really good. They're a great chorus. They narrate the whole thing, especially for singing. So we set the formation of a V, which I think was taken directly from the Muses, if not inspired by the pillars that they stand around. And then after putting in that V shape, worked on making some movements but not overdoing it. So we had to add to the storytelling, we talked to each other and then talk to the audience, like very over the top. We then made sure we had finishing poses of this, which once again might be taken directly from the Muses, but very like lots of angles after looking at Greek poses, one hip like down, quite a feminine figure, which makes sense after the Muses. I've said that too many times. Clear hand movements, also praising upwards to the gods. We also we then performed it like with the movements of all of our like spinning and stuff like that. And one thing we got is that we did lose a bit of our volume when we were doing it, and that we were performing at like a 7, and Katie said we need to perform at a 9. So we swapped it out and performed it again, this time making sure we're really projecting and giving it our all, which definitely looked a bit more enthusiastic. So what was effective is how quickly we could respond to feedback and how quickly we could get together and make movements in less than 2 days, completely block it to like some competent extent. Like it looked nice. We didn't get any feedback from blocking. So it's great that we could do that quickly. And then also that we, once again, could respond to feedback quickly. What would be effective is if we polish those movements and make sure they look nice and clean and don't look too clunky, or like something that got said to us was when we do the spinning and the swapping, it looks a bit messy. So if it's messy intentionally, make it look messy intentionally. If it's not, clean it up. So we need to clean it up and make it look better. So that's what we need to improve on, and then also make sure we get the volume when we're turning and things like that. Brilliant, that's singing. Dance, we worked on the layout of the solos on the stage, so popping them where they needed to be. So instead of just being like, oh, we've got a solo at this point, everything came together in the order and we where we need to be. So we also rehearsed the group movement at the beginning to make sure we've got we're a clear chorus. You know, we're a city of people who have been destroyed and brought down on by the gods above us. So also what like another thing is, when we were doing our solos, our whole group the 4 of us, we do Mabel's solo together, and then we do a bit of Jago solo. But what Catherine had me do, she had, after when they start doing Jago solo, I go off and I do my little bit of the solo on my own, which is really nice because that means I'm gaining confidence by doing a solo bit that stands out and looks separate from the other people I'm dancing with, but also it's nice because I'm doing it with a group. So I'm not just on my own in the middle of the stage. I'm, you know, still within a thing and lots of other things are happening. So it's a good way to build that confidence I constantly talk about in dance. So what was effective is how, I'm just checking, yeah, okay, is how I just managed to do the solo, like, I keep saying solo, it's a tiny little thing, just like that, without any fuss and any panic like I had maybe the week or 2 weeks before. So I think it's really effective that I did it. I just keep saying that, I'm proud of myself. And then what could be improved is, I'd say with some of our group work, we lose a lot of the feeling behind it. We need to make sure that, like, when we're all supporting Hecuba, Leah, one of the Trojan women, and like when we're doing it as a community that's been destroyed, it's clearer, you know? So that's something we can work on. Our target is just movements and making sure there's purpose behind them. Okay, for Taiko, I'd say it's definitely becoming a lot easier. I feel like I've improved a lot. It's become a muscle memory for me at this point, which is really helpful because that means I can start working on the performance factor of it. So maybe I can't get my arms up in the air like without messing up the beat, but I can start getting into the taiko drumming character, like with the traditional Japanese feeling behind it, like from in Japanese taiko, like the culture behind it. They're strong performers, they're almost like warriors and stuff like that. So we need to, I need to, not we, I need to make sure I can work on that character, and it's a lot easier to do that when you know the drumming you're doing. We also practice for like what layouts we can do for when we perform it, and then how we can like move around so it's in the round and everyone can see us. So what was effective is how I've begun to work on the character behind the culture of it, instead of just focusing on drumming the entire time. And then also what I can improve on is making sure that when I'm walking around and I'm performing it, it doesn't look messy, that these clean movements are going with the beat and looking nice, so it looks professional, like it is. We are professional. Woo. Okay, also we had a lot of listening this session, listening to other sections perform whilst we played the bass beats. So another thing we can target is to make sure we actually listen to each other, and when we start speeding up and things like that, we can not. We can calm down and take our time and make sure, like, listen to each other and respond to it so it sounds better as a performance. Okay. In acting, they did work with Old Man masks, so I wasn't in the lesson. And then with Lysistrata, we started script work. Lots of work, like writing loads of things about the characters on the back. So what do Kara and Martha want? Why are they doing it? What means are they going to do it? To work out the motivations behind the characters, so when I get the actors, Jenny and Tash, to start working on blocking it, there's more reason behind it. They can think about the characters as they work, so they can build them. So then we started blocking that week as well, and I actually made the executive decision to switch around Tash and Jen as the characters. So now Tash is Martha and Jen is Kara, and I feel this was it was a hard decision. Like, I made the decision with them, it wasn't just me. That's not what executive means, but it was me talking with them, because I feel like they were just really uncomfortable in the roles they had, Tash especially, and I wanted, whilst it's important to like work outside your comfort zone in acting, it's also important for me as a director to not push them, to not stress them out to the extent where it will be awkward and painful to watch. We want this to be a good piece, so that's what I'll do. I think it was effective that I managed to problem solve and used decision making to overcome something that was, like, I feel like a massive barrier. But what can be, our target is now is to make sure we get those characters, because they may be confused around them now that they're not their character they used to be. So make sure even though they've turned around, they've still got a clear understanding of who their characters are and what they need to do to display that and make sure it's true to the characters that we've made for them. So that's our target. And then I'm not going to talk about Unit 7 because I don't have time. Okay, so that was week 4. I spoke too much. Bye.